Hey, I'm Sarah Tagander, international speaker and trainer for a $40 million division in healthcare. With over a decade of experience working with healthcare providers, I believe that a healthcare practice should do more than just pay back student loans. Each week, I'll bring you the tips, tricks, and experts you need to build your practice both on and offline. Smart people take notes, so grab a pen or open up the Notes app on your phone as we dive into the Health of Your Business podcast. All right, girls, what do you think of when I tell you to think of Google? Do you think of all those patients who are coming to you for the first time, telling you that they know all about a potential disease they have or problem they have because Dr. Google told them so? Well, you might have a hate relationship with Google and with search. But our expert today, Akilah Thompkins, is going to help you have a love relationship with search engines. People are searching and asking questions of the World Wide Web every day. But the question is, are you coming up in search? Are they finding you? Are they seeing you as the expert? Now, Akilah specializes in local search. So she's your go-to expert if you want to be found as a local business with authority. But you guys know that I love you to be national experts and on big stages so we can continue to have this search conversation even online. I hope you come and hang out with me on a Facebook group, the Girlfriends Group of Health Practitioners, link in the show notes, or we can talk about all things search engines. But Akilah Thompkins really is a credible expert that I have on this week's podcast episode. She believes that everyone should be someone's number one in the search engine. She's the founder of girlgetvisible.com and the Girl Get Visible podcast. She wrote an SEO workbook that can help female entrepreneurs learn and do SEO. I want you, though, to listen to this podcast and understand that you need to know enough about SEO so you can measure someone else who's doing SEO for you. So outsource this, but listen so you can really understand. And one of the questions that I asked Akilah was that I believe that local is still king and that you're working on fully booking out your schedule and how SEO can really help you attract to the right patients. So let's listen in to this really, I think it was an eye-opening interview with Akilah all about search and how you can leverage what's happening right now with free search on Google. Hey, Akilah, how are you? I am so excited for you to be here with my girlfriends and we can chat about all things SEO. But let me start by just giving you like a little woo-woo, like kudos, because when I was on your website, one of the things that really stood out for me is you said that you're not just a coach, you're also the client. Like that you are in everyone's shoes, you walk the walk, you don't just talk the talk. Can you just first start by why did you put that on your website? Why is that so important to you?
So I put it on my website. So my website is geared towards retailers. It's online boutique source. And so a lot of my clients are retailers in fashion and jewelry and stuff like that. And I wanted to make it really clear that I'm not just like a coach who's out there just talking to you about how to do business, but I'm also a shopper. I'm a Jersey girl, which is also like the land. I'm in North Jersey, not South Jersey with the shore. In North Jersey, we have malls.
Yeah, right.
So while they spend their time at the beach, we spend our time at Willowbrook and Garden State. So I'm a shopper, which is how I got into working with retailers. I know what shoppers are looking for. I know a lot about how shoppers feel. You know, I am that person. So I wanted them to be, to really understand, and you'll understand when we talk a lot about SEO, that you're talking to people. You're not just talking to, people think they're talking to the customer or talking to their client or their patient, but you're talking to a person.
Right.
And when you really start thinking from the person level of what are they really thinking? What are the kind of the scary thoughts that are going through their head? What are the silly thoughts that are going through their head? When you start thinking about it that way, you can sell to them better. You can appeal to them better. You can become, like how you have your girlfriends, you can become friends with them. And in turn, that's really how the buying relationship happens. So I wanted people who come to my site to understand that I am not just someone who's going to tell you what to do, but I'm experiencing. I'm going to tell you how that feels to me as a shopper, as opposed to how that feels to me as the coach and what you should do. Because sometimes, as a shopper, I don't do what people think I should do. So I like to emphasize that and stress that in my coaching and my teaching.
And I do the same thing when I tell people. I mean, I can speak about what I do because I've gone through it. I can teach how to implement medical grade weight loss because I've done medical grade weight loss. I can teach people, what vitamin D tastes like versus a multivitamin because I've tasted it. So I think that's so important, really, to do that. I saw recently a post from a local physician. I've actually never met him. And, you always see these before and afters on people's websites, and it's just someone random. And it was the doctor himself. And I thought that was so cool. I thought it was just so different. You don't always see that. And but let's just even take a step back, because my girlfriends can tell you like what optimal vitamin D levels are. They're super smart, but I don't know, because SEO, it sounds like this magical thing that's for like, middle-aged guys in their basement who are, hacking the interwebs, trying to get rankings on Google and more clicks. But what is SEO? You make it sound so cool.
Okay, so, and I laugh harder when you say middle-aged guys in their basement, because that's what a lot of people think. Yeah. Geeky guys in their basement. And as you can see, I'm not a geeky guy. No, and currently we're not in my basement. So I'm already winning. So SEO is search engine optimization. And in the most layman's terms, it's making your site look pretty or look good for Google. And when I say look pretty and look good, not talking about the branding stuff. So not talking about your logo or your colors or even your pictures or any of that other type of stuff. Google looks at the words that are on your site. Google looks at the text. It looks at the stuff that builds your site behind the scenes, the coding. And don't worry, you don't have to do coding. WordPress does it all for us nowadays. It looks at all of that stuff. And while we would say, oh, these colors go together, or I like that outfit, Google's saying, oh, those words really look sexy. And, they tie together really good for what this person's looking for. And Google pulls that together. And that's and I always say Google, because although we talk about all search engines, so search engine optimization, it's I talk about Google because Google's like the grandfather of it all. Yes. If you can get good in Google, you'll get the Yahoos, you'll get the Bings, you'll get the YouTubes, you'll get all the residuals. So you'll hear me say Google a lot, but know that Google's everybody, because it literally is everybody. So that's what search engine optimization is: making your site look good from the words and the content that you talk about. That's going to then attract the search engines.
Okay. And this will help, so people will find your website, right? Or
this is so when people, I'm sorry, I kind of skipped the next step.
No, it's okay.
But so when people are searching, so especially when things are around medical, we tend to go to Google a lot. And I know people are always like, especially physicians, actually used to work in hospitals, they're like, don't go to Dr. Google, don't go to Dr. Google. And no matter how much you say, don't go to Dr. Google, people are going to go to Dr. Google. People are still going to look up their issues, still going to look for solutions, still going to double and triple check some of the things that you've told them. And they're going to do that all via Google. So if your site can start to show up for some of those things that people are looking for, and show up for, Dr. Google is now you, and they're seeing you and associating you with that information that they're finding, that's how more people will come to you or stay with you, feel more confident about working with you. The know, like, and trust factor we talk about on social media, and the rest of the internet, it all happens by what comes up in search. Mm-hmm. So search engine optimization will help you get to that point where you are what's coming up for what they're looking for.
Hmm. Now, I do believe that before you outsource, which I think you should outsource anything that doesn't bring you joy, right? It's almost like Marie Kondo your life with little things.
Yeah.
So, like it does not bring me joy to clean my bathrooms. I outsource that. Little things. It does not bring my husband joy to mow the lawn. But so, I don't think everyone is going to find the joy in SEO, maybe the same way you do. So what do you really need to know before you outsource? Because, I can look at my lawn, and obviously if half of the grass is high and half of it's low, I know that my, lawn guy didn't do a good job. But how do I know that the person that I'm getting help from is doing a good job, or what should I be asking?
So I would say knowing some of the basics, know your numbers. I know people don't like to know their numbers, but Google has two free tools that are amazing. So there's Google Analytics, which hopefully a lot of people already have. And then there's something else called Google Search Console, which is a lot like Analytics, but Analytics is the look back. So seeing how many people have visited your site, what are they visiting, kind of those numbers. And then Search Console is the look forward. So it starts telling you what you're coming up for. So those are the two tools that I tell people you've got to look and know your numbers. You want to know what you're coming up for, anyone's linking to you. And then from the look back, you want to know who's coming to your site. Of course, how many people, is it working? And then what pages are they coming to? Those will start giving you some information on what are the things that they like or that they're looking for. And that'll tell you what do you need or what do you need to have someone else write about. The other things that you need to know aside from the tools is you need to know your business really well, which I know you guys know your business really well, and you need to know your people really well. So you need to know, and again, not as customers or clients, but as people. And one of the things, because you said, we're all kind of nerdy girls, and I'm a tech nerdy girl, you guys are medical nerdy girls. One of the things we tend to do is we get really down into what we know. We're the experts. We start talking all the jargon, start giving all the acronyms, and those are things that we know, but people don't know those. So it's really important to start listening to what are the words that people are saying. Like if you're in different Facebook groups and people are asking about weight loss, or, I know keto is a big thing, or even vitamin D. They may just be asking what are the vitamins that I need, which leads to vitamin D. Or, my doctor said I'm not getting enough sun. What does that mean? Which leads to vitamin D. They may not know exactly what it is just yet. They may not know the medical term for it, which is what you're trying to talk about. They know just the layman's, I'm talking to my girlfriend, I have no idea what this is about kind of terms. So you want to make sure you know your people on that level so that your website says those things. So when you're hiring someone out to do this for you, you're saying, okay, I need to make sure I'm talking about, these specific things, which are the things that people are leading them to come find me, whatever industry you're in. I had a hip replacement, long story, when I was very young.
Too
But,
young. Yeah.
yeah, I was 33, so I'm super young.
Wow.
But one of the things that led me to it was, for years, I did not know I had a hip problem to begin with. But one of the things that led me to it was I was getting sharp pains in the hip area, pains when walking. I couldn't walk a full store, everything leads back to a mall.
Yeah. First world problems, really. First world problems.
I know, but it led to knee issues, or maybe I was walking funny, so I was kind of trying to figure that out. But those are the real basic things that I was Googling and researching and looking for, what kind of physical therapy can I do for myself? I literally was looking that up. What kind of physical therapy do I need to make this better? Which exercises should I do? Those are the real basic things that if a doctor's website said those things, and then at the bottom they said, maybe something with your hip, get it checked out, it probably would have saved me a lot of years.
Yeah.
But, so it took, like I said, a couple of years to find out, but those are the things that your site can help people find out a lot sooner.
And so I had the same thing. I need to go to physical therapy. I have some neck alignment issues, and I was recommended a specific type of physical therapy. This just happened to me a few weeks ago. And so I started looking up physical therapists who did this type of technique. And I was putting in all of the keywords that I thought physical therapists, Massachusetts, that did this kind of posture technique. And I was still getting pointed to practitioners in California, practitioners in Arizona. I mean, it almost wasn't helpful. You know, I do believe that local is still king, you know? So how can SEO help with driving more local traffic, not just web traffic?
Definitely. So, and Google itself has a lot of good things for local businesses. So they have like a local search, and they do a lot of location. Like, so when someone searches from their phone or even from their computer, Google knows where they're located. So if you're like, if you claimed your local listing, and which is free, don't let anybody charge you for that.
All right.
If you ever get those phone calls, hang up on them. Go to the Google site, and I'll give you the link. I'll send you the link to put in the show
Oh,
notes
awesome.
of where you can go to claim your local listing. So those kind of things are important because now Google's going to associate you with that area, and so when someone's searching from that area, they'll start putting you higher for those particular people. So that's really important. Then, like I said, just saying it, just knowing, like having your address information, mentioning things that are related to your area. So like when I'm working with brick and mortar businesses, I'll say things like, well, what kind of festivals are happening in your area? What kind of event, or what is your area known for? I was working with a boutique who's located in the Empire part of New York, Empire State.
Mhm.
And she was talking about, you know, the Adirondacks are up there and a bunch of other stuff going on. And they have some festivals and fall, and like all that stuff needs to be on your site. Because when people are just searching for, we're coming to the area, what are things to do, you want to be a source for that. So from a physician point of view, you don't want to have necessarily festivals,
No.
but you may want to have things that were pioneered, or different procedures that happen in the area, hospitals that are good for specific procedures that happen in the area. You can talk about other people to help bring yourself some little bit of fame.
Ooh.
So, you know, you can talk about, you know, say there's a hospital in Boston that does this particular surgery, or there's a doctor who just pioneered. You can kind of give your 2 cents on your website. Like, so like give your kind of thoughts about it and what do you think? And you're mentioning like the doctor, you're mentioning the name, you're mentioning the services that, you know, kind of overlaps with your own. And that's helping people get kind of that local search in. And they're saying like, okay, I can't make it to that person, but this person's really close, and
Right.
they're closer to me, and you know, and they know about this, so let me go and be associated with that. So when you're talking about your local, other than just claiming your local search and having your address on there, you also want to have some localized content that brings in what you do. If they're you know, we're talking about weight loss, maybe talk about different activities people can participate in the area throughout the year. You
Yeah.
know, you can't do, people are going to say running, but you know, it's snowing outside.
Right. Right. So
You
what
can have,
gyms or personal trainers, and you have
yeah,
to network. You got to get out there and like know your people in your community.
or
Yeah.
even just tips outside of even knowing like a person who does it, but you can say, well, here are 3 things you can do instead of working out outside, instead of walking or running outside. Here are 3 things you can do in the house to get the same results
Oh, cool.
or burn the same amount of calories. That can be like a full blog post. And
Mm.
again, you're pulling people in who have similar issues to what's going on in your area, and now they're looking for those solutions, and you're giving those solutions.
I'm going to do a follow-up solo episode on this, on how this doesn't have to be like a full-time job, how you can, you know, create one piece of content and use it on your website, use it on your Facebook,
Yes.
use it in a newsletter, use it in a physical handout for your patients. I mean, it don't make more work for yourself. And
Not at all. And have other people do it. So, you know, when
yes.
we talk about outsourcing, you don't have to write every article. Like, you don't have to come up with those tips yourself. You can either put down just a title, and there's services like iWriter is one of the services I use, or you can get someone on Upwork, have your assistant start writing, especially those that require just research. Like the ones that are just list of things or list of people, anyone can Google for you too. So, you know,
Right.
you're just bringing the research together. You don't necessarily have to be the person to write it all. I used to do transcription a lot. I use rev.com. I love
Me
it.
too. Yeah.
And, you know, I'll speak whatever I'll talk about it while I'm driving, because I drive a lot. But, you know, I'll speak it and then I'll hand it over to someone. So there's a lot of ways that you don't have to do, you know, all of this work. You can just have the ideas and then have somebody else go and execute them for you.
One of my girlfriends, Christy, up in Alaska, she runs a really great blog as a mom and a nurse practitioner. and she does all guest blog posts. So she went into some popular groups, people in her niche, and said, "Hey, would you write a guest blog post?" And that
Smart.
really helped her with her site and put some content on there real quickly. And
Mhm.
it was all relevant to what she, wanted to do, because she knows her friends, she knows her audience, she knows who's coming to the site and reading about that.
Yes, exactly. That's super smart. You can definitely bring in other people, and that'll get you some links too, which is good for SEO.
Oh, nice. Yeah, yeah. I would be remiss without talking about, the retail aspect. And that's what I do. I specialize in putting in retail into practitioners' offices.
Mhm.
And, just the whole flow of how from the second you walk into the practice, what the marketing looks like, where it's positioned, handouts, a follow-up sequence, implementation with the staff. But how can a retail presence even help with a web presence? How are those two things connected?
Well, a couple ways. So if you've got a really popular brand, like I know you guys have the Nutrimix brand. So if you've got a really popular brand, the fact that people are looking for more information about that or looking for where it's offered, you talking about it on your site is going to help in itself. So it's like having a famous person on your site
Yes.
because people already know, and other folks are talking about it, know about it. My friend may tell me about it, and I'm now looking for it in the New Jersey area. So just having the name up there alone, and like really using it in your content, give some tips, give some tricks. Like, don't kind of keep everything bottled in. You can tell people a little bit
Yeah.
about it. So that's one thing. The other thing is, we're talking about solving people's problems. Talk about the problems that lead to the product as a solution. And
Mm.
you can give a variety of tips. So again, we're talking about weight loss and things you can do during the winter. You can say, do some cardio inside, do the stairs, and drink, something that deals with the program.
Yeah.
So you can give tips that are kind of related to, without being super salesy. So it's not and that's really important. So it's not like a sales message. It's not here's my stuff, here's my stuff, here's my stuff. It's, here's this helpful information. My stuff is one of the things that helps you, or my
Mm.
stuff can help you with this. So you can kind of, give things in there. Like, I have an article on my site that gives, what is it, 10 tips for better photography, for better product photography. And I talk about lighting and positioning and, the background and making it unique. And at least 3 or 4 of those 10 tips lead to products. So when I talk about lighting, I give them the box that people can put your products in. It's the lighting box. When I also talk about the lighting kit, the one I actually own. So, the lighting kit. When I talk about backdrops, I give suggestions that people may not be thinking of different backdrops where you can buy backdrops as opposed to having to go and redo your whole walls and stuff. So
Yeah.
I give those things that lead to products. So you can do the exact same thing with your product. And that can help to guide your content better and have more focused content, because you want to make sure you're looking at what are the problems people have before they even see the product.
Mm.
So with the weight loss, not even just weight loss, but what leads you to medical grade weight loss? What are
Mm.
some of the things that a doctor's going to tell you that is going to make you now need to find a program? Because a doctor's going to say, oh, your blood pressure is pretty high, you may need to bring it down. And now that person's going to go Google ways I can lower my blood pressure through weight loss.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now you've got a whole article on that's going to lead them to your solution. So it's kind of like you're almost walking them down the path
Yeah. You could be
with
your
your
own little
content.
WebMD, right?
Yeah,
Could be an
exactly.
expert.
Walking them down the path. So when you think about that first step, what are people looking for? What are people hearing and saying that's making them think, I need to find this? And
Mm.
then think of ways that you can be different than everyone else. Because yes, you want weight loss, but what's going to stop them from doing, Weight Watchers compared to medical grade? You want to
Mhm.
bring in the medical aspect. These are the reasons why, or these are the things that this can help you with, that Weight Watchers doesn't know about.
Mm.
You can still get some monitoring, and you can still get, information. They're not going to help you do some of that without saying their name per se, but you can say these are the reasons why medical grade is going to help you for your specific problem.
And that's my understanding too. If then you can look at the Google Analytics as to which of your maybe blogs or articles are the most popular, then you can say, oh, I had no idea. Like, I thought everyone was coming to me for X, but I'm
Yes.
getting all this traffic for Y. So I need to do more Facebook Lives on that. I need to write more articles around that. I think that's really, some people don't know and they just think, you brought up like, should I just go on the keto bandwagon because it sounds popular? Well, I don't
Hmm.
know. Are people in your area, are your people looking for that? Or are
Yes.
they looking for something else? And
And that's
yeah.
exactly why, if like two tools, Google Analytics is like key. You got to have it because you want to see what are they coming to you for, because you could have a lot of traffic for something you said once somewhere on your site, and now you want to make sure that you talk more about that and grab more traffic and get more people. So that's why you want to look at your analytics and kind of have a good understanding of what's going on your site, so you know where to build from.
Oh, this is super helpful. I always tell people if you're going to spend, anywhere from $70 to, I mean, I've seen it upwards to, 200, couple $100 a month on a website, or, your web developers, or, whatever it is that you're spending, that should be like an employee. You need to
Yes.
make sure that tool is working for you. It should not
Hmm.
just be an expensive business card on the web. It's got to lead people down a road. It's got to have an action step, a call to action. It's got to be trackable, measurable. You got to check in with that employee, your website, every now
Yes.
and then and say, what are you doing for me, buddy? Do we need a replacement here?
Yeah, I need you to tighten up a little bit.
Yeah. Come on. I got to stop taking
Absolutely.
so many vacations.
Hmm.
Days, right? I think this is so huge. Is there anything else? I mean, those are really all my questions. I think that's a great place to get started. But anything else that you think you want to add for my girlfriends and what they need to know?
So just a little bit about links. So we talked a lot about content. Content is key to, to having something for people to find and search. The other thing that's key, and I call it the secret sauce of SEO, is links, backlinks. So this is links from other sites leading to your site. So, if you are affiliated with a hospital and they have like a list of all their doctors and they have a link to your website, that's a backlink. A lot of people don't think about it and don't know enough about it. So I always like to throw that in, somewhere in my conversation. Don't forget the links. So getting backlinks, and you can get backlinks by being on shows like this. So, even as a physician, getting on different podcasts, they usually will link to your site with the podcast. That's important. You can get backlinks by, like I said, if you're listed in hospitals or associations, ask them, hey, are you linking to our sites? Or you should link to our sites. I do a directory of everyone involved, so that way we get a link to our site. All of those links give, like I said, the secret sauce, the special sauce that Google looks at it as if your site is more popular, and popularity is measured by links. If your site is more popular, then your stuff must be more valuable. So our two sites can actually say the exact same thing. But because I had more links, I might be a step or two above yours because you don't have enough links. So Google's like, oh, well, you're popular. People must, if they're linking to you, people like you. And you
Yeah.
must know what you're talking about. So let's put this one a step above. So I always talk to people and tell people, you start thinking about considering the links. Where are you getting backlinks from? The first easiest way is look at what you're already associated with and
Mm,
ask or see if you're getting links from them.
mm.
Then you can start doing kind of the PR reach out and saying, doing podcasts, getting on other online sites, doing guest blog posts for people. All of those things can have backlinks leading back to your site. So that would be my final tip of
Is
make
there
sure
a
you
magic
link to
number? Like, should we shoot to get linked on 10 people's websites and then see what that does? I mean, I don't, is
I
there?
would say I usually start people off with like 10 to 20 links,
Okay.
like good quality links, and then try to add between like 4 or 5 per month.
Okay.
But don't stress. If you don't get 4 or 5, it's okay. Every link counts. So know that every link, and it's all based on, so there isn't a magic number. That's just kind of a good momentum number for me when I'm working with people. But Google, it's all based on what other people around you have. So it's almost like head of the class. You're head of whoever's in the class at the time. So if
Hmm.
we're all going for the same, something like Northeast for professionals or podcasters, we both have podcasts.
Sure. Yeah.
So if we're both going for like Northeast podcast, it's going to determine, it's going to be based on who else is also going for that. If I have more links and you have less links, then I'm going to win. If you get more
Oh,
links, then you're going to win. If somebody else comes in and they've got more, then they're going to win. provide all of our content's kind of the same. So it's not really an optimal number to tell people to say, oh, just get 10, you'll be perfect, because you may be in a very competitive space and need more. So I give a good number to just start with getting like 10 to 15 on your site, and then try to keep adding to that, because it's a momentum thing.
Oh my gosh, mind blowing. I'm going to do all of the things. And by that, I mean, I'm going to have my team help me do all of the things, because you can't do it all alone. This was so huge. And I'm psyched because I am going to continue to follow you with your Online Boutiquers podcast. I just love podcasting as a format. I think that smart people listen to podcasts. That's just what I found. And I think that the smartest cookies have a podcast. So Akilah, you're like head of the class in that for sure. And, even if you follow a podcast and not everything applies, right? If you did one that's just for online clothing, skip that episode. But who knows? Sometimes I read that or I listen to it and it still applies to me, which is so huge. I am going to link, I know you have an SEO workbook that you just released, and that is gold. And so people are going to do that. You're going to send me some other links for the show notes. We're obviously going to link to your website. If I link to your website like multiple times, do you get more points? Does that help?
Yes.
So
Google does look at the number of times that people are linking to you.
I'll just write it in there like 5 or 6 or 7 times for you.
Well, you don't want to overlink. You don't want Google to think we're trying to trick it. But it does look at the number of times somebody links to you and the pages. So like if you link one to the workbook and one to the homepage, like it looks at all the different pages.
I am doing that for you. Yes. So obviously you're going to get all of Akilah's links. That's totally fine. But where else should people start with you? Is that a good start?
I would say that's a good start. And especially the workbook, because we're talking a lot about outsourcing. I built the workbook or wrote the workbook so that you could hand it off to someone. So when people come to me and they say, because I get that a lot, I don't have time for SEO. I don't have another thing I can do. I get it. I'm there. Yes. And literally you can hand it off and say, start going through these exercises, and it's like literally a workbook. So there's exercises and journal prompts and stuff. And you can just say, tell your staff, start working through this, and check the work like homework. So it's really, really good for outsourcing. I just want you guys to know that. So if you're thinking all the things, don't worry.
Right. No, that is, I want to take things off of everyone's plate. And that's what I'm talking about. Don't pay for a website if it's not doing anything for you. So I think that is such a huge message. You also just give so many great tips. I can't wait. I'm going to re-listen to this and take notes, because my mind is spinning as I'm interviewing, but gold. Akilah, thank you so much. And I hope to see you soon. Thanks so much for listening. I want to hang out with you more. I truly believe your success is related to the people you spend the most time with. That's why I created the free community, the Girlfriends Group of Health Practitioners. It's a safe space for you to connect with other soul practitioners who don't just want to keep the doors of their practice open, but they want to impact the health of their community. Head over to www.sarahchugender.com and hit the tab at the top that says Group. Go in there and introduce yourself today. I'll see you soon.